Hello, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another reading vlog where I'm gonna be reading The Golden Fool. So The Golden Fool is book 2 in the Tawny Man trilogy and book 8 in the realm of the Elderlings, which is a fantasy series. And I have read the two previous trilogies in this world and obviously the book that comes before this one in this trilogy. And it is definitely like a series, or like all of the trilogy, not that's just this one. That is definitely like slow paced, and that is not my favorite, but I do love the world and the characters and the magic. So I still do really enjoy it. It's just a little, slower paced than I would prefer. But I did actually really like the book that came before this, more than I was expecting, actually. So I was definitely very excited to get into this one. And I just want to say that there are definitely spoilers in this reading vlog, and let's get into it. Okay, so I have made it to page 222 of The Golden Fool, which is around 35%. And Fitz is at Buckkeep, and his job is to teach the Prince Dutiful in both the skill, especially the skill, but also the wit. Like, he still wants to learn more about that. But their lessons have like barely started at the point there I stopped. And also Fitz is realizing that he might not know enough to be teaching someone else. And there's also a guy that works for Shade that also has like the skill. So there's also that. And Shade himself also wants to learn how to use the skill because he thinks that he also has it because he's also a farseer. So he thinks that he probably also has it, and he also like wants to learn how to use the skill. And also we learned that Fitz's daughter, like, she is also skilled, and she has been trying to communicate with Fitz in her dreams, even though I don't think she knows who he is. But she's been trying to communicate with him, and he's been trying to like not really communicate back. And we also learned that the queen is actually witted because she could like feel night eyes. So there's also that. And the Piebalds, they have been like quiet for a long time, but now they have started like making threats again. And also like Dutiful's fiance is like at Buckkeep because he's supposed to be getting married soon, so like she's there. And I think that's like pretty much what we've learned, what we've seen so far. And like I'm liking it because I do really like the characters and I do really like this world. But I feel like if this was, like my first book in the series, in this world, my introduction to this, I would be kind of bored because over 200 pages and not that much has happened yet. Like, not even everything that says here in the back has happened already, and I am 35% in. So, it's going like pretty slow, even like slower than I expected it to go. So like I'm ready for, things to actually start happening. And so like I'm enjoying it, but I want it to move a little faster. Like I'm ready for it to move on a little. Like I'm excited for these things to happen. So like I want them to, actually happen. So yeah, I'm liking it, but I'm not like absolutely loving it. But I am still hoping that, as things start progressing, as more things start happening, I will start to like it even more. And yeah, I'm going to read a bit more, and I will be back to tell you what's happening, if it has gotten a bit faster, if things are moving, and what I am thinking. Okay, so I have made it to page 433, which is around 2/3 into the book. And the Prince Dutiful, like, he's having a few issues with his fiance, which I'm gonna talk more about in a second. And Fitz is also having issues with Hap, like his adopted son, because basically Hap is making the same mistakes that Fitz did when he was his age. And even though like he understands that, like he's doing exactly the same thing, he, he's not loving that, obviously. And then actually like some traders from Big Town, which was the town that like a lot of the story of the previous trilogy was set on, they come to Buckkeep and they actually bring like a life ship, which was so cool. And there is someone that we knew from like that trilogy that was friends with the Fool when the Fool went by Amber, and so that person who's called Jack is now like visiting Amber. And like through Jack we learn what has been happening to like other characters that we met in like that trilogy. And Jack's like arrival and presence definitely like creates some tension with the Fool and with Fitz. And basically, like, the traders are there because they want to ask help from, like, the queen of Buckkeep to, like, help them win their war against their enemies. And, like, if they do, then they will, like, be granted protection from the dragon Titania. And so, like I was saying, Dutiful is having issues with his fiancée, and she basically, like, sets him a challenge. And basically, she says, in my land, in the god runes, it is customary that if a man seeks to marry a woman, and the woman's mothers are uncertain of his blood or his character, then the mothers may propose a challenge to him, whereby he can prove himself worthy. As I stand before you without the benefit of my mothers to speak for me, I would myself propose a challenge that would prove the prince worthy of me. Our legend is that Icefire, the black dragon of the god runes, sleeps deep in the heart of a glacier in Alvial? Probably not how you would say it, Isle. His slumber is a magic one, preserving the fires of his life until some deep need of the god rune's folk awakens him. Then he will rip himself free of the glacier and come to our aid. Surely he would have done so when your dragons flew over us. Surely that was an hour of great need for us. Yet our hero failed to arise. And for that, as for any hero who forsakes his duty, he deserves to die. Bring me Icefire's head. Then I will know that, unlike him, you are a worthy hero, and I will wed you and be your wife in all ways, even if you never become the king of the 6 duchies. And Dutiful accepts the challenge, and that was like the last line of the premise of the book, like here in the back, is he must kill Icefire, one of the last true dragons, and Fitz and the Fool must go with him. And that only happened like 50% into the book. So, I was waiting. But if you think that we have gotten anywhere with that plot, you'd be mistaken, because they still have none left. And I am 60-something% in. So, there's that. But, moving on to another thing, like I think I mentioned that Fitz is having dreams like with Nettle, his daughter, and the queen wants him to teach Nettle how to skill because she thinks it would be useful. But Fitz, and also like he would be like for her protection, like her own protection, to learn how to skill and to not know even that she has the skill. But Fitz like doesn't want to do that because then he would have to reveal that he's her father and all of that. And he promises to like actually be a skill master and actually work on it as he should have since he got there, if the queen leaves Nettle alone like for as long as she possibly can. And then there was like a whole conversation between like Fitz and the Fool, because like I said, Jack's presence like he brought out some drama because like Jack knew that Amber was like in love with Fitz, and then Fitz is like, why do you let her believe like some lie like that? Like you would want me that way. And the Fool maybe possibly kind of wants him that way. And honestly, like Fitz is just like cruel for no reason, because he just didn't need to have that conversation. Like the Fool was never gonna do anything because they know that Fitz doesn't like them that way. Like they just see them as a friend. So it was just gonna be that. But like Fitz was like really mean and really rude for honestly no reason. And honestly, like he was already pissing me off before, but that really pissed me off. And then Dutiful, the prince, like he's also pissing me off. He's a brat, which I mean probably expected because he's a prince, but he's also really pissing me off. And then we actually got to see Burrick, which was really cool because his son actually went to Buckkeep to talk to the queen because he found out that, I mean, he already knew, but like he's witted because Burrick is witted. and Burrick like really is against the wit, and so he doesn't let his son use it, doesn't let him learn. And so he went to the queen because he knows that the queen, unlike a lot of people there, like doesn't hate witted people for like absolutely no reason, and he wants to, you know, be there and learn. And Burrick went after him because he doesn't want him to learn. And then we see that like he's still like, he feels like incredibly guilty for Fitz's supposed death, like because he still thinks that Fitz is dead. And that was honestly so heartbreaking. Like it was really cool to see him again, but it was so heartbreaking. And then after that whole conversation that Fitz overhears, he has another dream like with Nettle, his daughter. And then after like the dream with her, he hears like someone else's voice. His dream like he was with Nettle, but also like Thick, who is like a guy that works for Chade and also has the skill, like he could also he like hear the dream. And so the voice then says, "Now perhaps you will learn not to dream so loud. He is not the only one it bothers. He, like Thick. Nor is he the only one you reveal yourselves to, little man. What are you? What do you mean to me?" And I'm like, what are you? Like, who are you? Like, what is happening? And Fitz doesn't know either. And then after that, like, what we learn is that the pieballs actually know more about them than they thought, because someone has been feeding them information. And that is pretty much where I'm at. And I'm having mixed feelings because, like, on the one hand, I am more excited about the plot because, you know, we finally got, like, the task with the dragon, even though, like, it hasn't gone anywhere, so I'm not, like, fully excited about it because it hasn't happened. But, like, there's a prospect of it happening, and I'm really excited to see, like, how that goes. I really, like, I want to see that. So I'm excited, but also Fitz is really, like, annoying me. He's, yeah, and also Dutiful is really annoying me. So I'm having mixed feelings. I'm still enjoying it. Like, I'm enjoying it more than I was because, like I said, I'm a little more excited, but I'm not loving it. And I'm not enjoying it as much as I enjoyed the first one in the series, because I just feel like, you don't know what is happening, and also the characters are kind of pissing me off, a couple of them. So yeah, I'm liking it, I'm not loving it, but I am going to finish it. I have like 200 pages left. I think like exactly. No, actually I have 199 pages to go. So I will finish those 200 pages and I will get back to you. Okay, so I have finished the Golden Fool, and in the beginning of this last third, Fitz finds and fights with two pieballs, and he actually kills them, but he also gets like really badly injured, and he's also found by like guards, and so he's taken to prison. And like I said, he's very like badly injured, so he is basically like dying in prison until Lord Golden, aka the Fool, gets him, and you know he's dying, like I said. And so Chade, Dutiful, Thick, and the Fool, they all kind of like combine their powers, and they are able to heal Fitz. And so basically with that, like Chade confirms that he does have the skill, and after confirming that, he gets like kind of obsessed with the fact that he has the skill, and he wants to get like really strong in it. And he's also like using Thick's power, like kind of channeling Thick, and that is putting like both of them in danger. So that is definitely concerning. And then Fitz and the Fool have like a whole conversation, and the Fool is kind of like freaking out. I mean, first of all, like in that conversation, they kind of like talk about, you know, the argument that they had before, and they are kind of okay now. But also the Fool is kind of freaking out because he saw some tattoos on Eliania, who's like Dutiful's fiance, and they are like kind of like his tattoos. And so he knows, or he thinks, that she in some way works for the Pale Woman. And like the Fool is saying that she commanded that the Fool be marked in that way. And they continue talking. The Narcheska, who is Eliania, is also decorated with the pale woman's markings, as if she claimed us as her tool, her creatures. She is the white prophet, come to set time in a better path. She has a vision. You do not question her will. Questioning her command can have severe repercussions. Ask Kibble Robred. You do as the pale woman tells you. Do I know who Kibble Robred is? I do not, but I just accepted that. Most likely we lose. You die and the world spirals down into darkness and ugliness, despair. And Fitz asks, but what if I do live? What if we win? What then? And the fool says, then the world goes on, my friend. Children run down muddy streets, dogs bark at passing carts, friends sit and drink brandy together. Boys falling in love with girls that aren't right for them, wolves hunting on snowy plains, and time, endless time unwinding for all of us. And the dragons, of course, dragons sliding across the sky like beautiful jeweled ships. And then they continue talking about the dragons, and they say something that we must bring back, you and I. When you save any part of the world, you've saved the whole world. In fact, that's the only way it can be done. We have to go on the prince's quest with him to find Icefire. Then we must prevent the prince from slaying him. Instead, we must free the black dragon trapped beneath the ice, so he can rise to become Tintaglia's consort, so that they can mate and there can be real dragons in the world again. And then, finally, the last part of this whole thing that the fool is sure that they have to do, this time on Asriel. It is my turn to die. So, according to the fool's prophecy, the fool is gonna die when they go to slay or not slay the dragon. So, there's that. And so Fitz talks with Shade to make sure that they figure out some way to make sure the fool does not go on the ship when they all sail to go on that mission to find the dragon. And then after that, Fitz and Shade and Thick and Dutiful are like practicing together with a skill, which is actually like pretty wholesome. I really like those scenes with all of them together. And Shade like calls out to all skilled people, and Nettle hears. And then there is like negotiations between the prince and the queen and the people with the wit, or like people with old blood, not the piebalds, because most of the people, like the old blood, they are also afraid of the piebalds. So like not those, that specific group, but like all the other people, and they do like come to an agreement. And yeah, basically they are, getting ready to go on the mission, and that is where it ends. So let's go into my final thoughts. And starting off with the characters. So Fitz definitely like really annoyed me throughout like a big chunk of this book. But then in the end, like I feel like he did make things right with the characters that he had disagreements with. So, I mean, I still like him, obviously, but he definitely like pissed me off in this book. And also the prince, I wasn't really liking him that much, but I feel like his attitude changed, specifically like towards one particular person. And I do like him now. I do actually really like him, and I hope I grow to like him even more in the next book. And the fool I just continue to love, like absolutely love. And Shade I'm definitely worried about with like his obsession with his skill. And like not just him, but also Thick, because he is using Thick's power. So, he could hurt them both. And, in terms of pacing, this was incredibly slow. And I feel like I was fooled because nothing happened in this book other than literally what it says here. And like the last line is, he must kill Icefire, one of the last two dragons, and Fitz and the fool must go with him. Which, I thought was just like the premise and they would actually do it in this book. But no, what we learned is that they need to go do it. So it's literally like what it says here in the back is what happens. Nothing else happens. Other than we learning a bit more about the prophecies and that the fool supposedly will die, which I hope that's not the case. I hope they figure out a way to make that not happen. But yeah, that's it. On the other hand, though, I did really like to see people from the Life Ship Trader trilogy here, and like an actual life ship was here, and also get to hear about what other characters were up to and learn more about what they've been doing. I did really like that, and I do really like this world and the characters most times, and I feel like that is the only reason why I actually did enjoy the book. Because if this was just, a random book from a new series that I hadn't known before, I feel like I would have just been like way too bored and not have enjoyed it. But since I already, like the world and the characters and the overall plot, I did like it, but it was definitely not one of my favorites. And I think I'm gonna end up giving it 3.5 stars. And so, yeah, that is it for this reading vlog for this book. And so, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you have enjoyed it. And if you did, give it a like and subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!